I already had mine.
Al.
Okay, and Al's cool. Jody's got her gear.
Mine is Utah Hooters.
Oh, how cute. Number one, Grandma.
I got number
Utah
one
Hooters.
grandma going this morning.
Awesome. So mine says,
Mine's boring.
again, I don't know why. Can't get. Okay, so there you go. Ice Nation Rockstar. So here's the cool thing, guys. The reason I use this class is because I got some really cool tickets. I got tickets to U2 concerts. Anybody like U2?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of them, and I want to take you guys, but I'm not going to give them away. I'm going to sell them because they're, it's U2. It's like front row. So I'm going to sell them, and question is, who wants to buy some?
Do they come with airfare?
Huh?
Do they come with airfare, or is that extra?
It's everything, yeah.
I'm probably out.
Well, they're going to be, I got them for just about every city, so somewhere close to you.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, they're $1,500. Anybody? $1,500. Anybody interested?
1,500.
Yeah.
Not for you two.
Well, here's the thing. If that's too much, I made a deal with the guy because I know the concert promoter, and the Edge is the guitarist for U2. He's their main guitarist. So I can get you in a half hour before the concert, and the Edge will play a couple of songs for you, and you'll know it's U2. You'll recognize the songs, but it's just the guitar. I get you that for like $200.
I am loving this.
No, and then,
We're getting our first.
there's one other option. My neighbor
25
My
guitar string. There you go.
he started playing guitar like last year. He started taking lessons, and he knows like 3 U2 songs. He knows With or Without You, Where the Streets Have No Name, and one other one. So, I can get you that too. That's going to be cheaper. It's the same thing, but it's a lot cheaper. That I can get you for like $20. He'll play it for you. It's the same thing though. Guys, it's the same thing. U2 is U2, whether this guy plays it next door on the guitar or whether it's the Edge or whether it's the whole, let me ask you a question. Why would you need the whole band?
Oh, well.
Because it's a system.
Oh my God, Mary, you caught on. It's a system. You mean
And they work synergistically.
Oh my
For
God.
everything to work together in one accord, you have to have the whole band.
You mean if I had Bono, it makes a difference?
Yes.
You just don't want to
Bono
pay.
is your eye on it.
Yeah, but you said you didn't want to pay that much. You just wanted something cheaper, and I was just going to give you the edge. He's going to play the song for you.
Well, could you maybe show me a way that I could?
My neighbor is so good. If you close your eyes, you're definitely gonna know it's a U2 song. Same thing.
It's really not the same thing. I really want to go for gold. I want the whole band.
Exactly. Okay, so as I talk to you guys, I'm gonna mute everybody right here for a second. I'll let you come. So as I talk to you guys, I did this analogy because I love analogies, and I think that's how some people just don't understand. I'm not saying you guys, but their prospects, they just don't understand the difference between putting one product in your body and getting an entire system. So sometimes if we relate it to something else, right, who would want to go see the Edge? Or who would want to just hear your neighbor? And then who's the neighbor? The neighbor is the cheaper product that's out there. The neighbor is the person that says, I'm not going to do Isogenics. I'm going to do It Works. Or I'm going to do something else. Or I'm going to take my protein that I get at Walmart because it's the same thing, really? So the protein you get at Walmart is like your next door neighbor playing guitar, meanwhile, or singing, and next you got Bono over here, right? We are Bono. Our product is Bono. It's the best. So this is what I want you guys to start thinking about, how ridiculous it's going to sound next time someone says, okay, I'm just going to do the Cleanse for Life. When I look at you guys, I look at my back office and I see the BV and I see some BV. It's like, oh, look, someone just signed somebody up. Let me see what they put them on. And I look back there and there's like 45 or 54 BV or something like that. I'm like, come on. Why are we doing this? Guys, And there's a reason. It's not about money, and it's not about rank advancement. It has nothing to do with money, rank advancement, or any of that stuff. What it has to do with is our reputation as a company and our retention in general. Think about this. If you come to me and you have issues, and I've been telling you how great Isagenix is for this whole time, and then all of a sudden you say, okay, I'm ready to do it, but I'm just going to do the Cleanse for Life, and that's it, right? Well, what are the chances after 30 days that you have that experience that I was bragging about, the experience that I was telling you about? Probably not. You're probably going to go away saying it was nothing like you said, and then what happened? You don't order again, and then the next person that talks to that person says, have you done Isagenix? They said, yeah, I did it, and it didn't really work for me. I didn't really feel anything. Well, that's because you weren't doing it. It's the same thing if someone says, well, I'm going to do Isagenix, and I'm just going to get a shake and do it once a day. So if they just get enough for one shake a day, guess what? Chances are they're not even going to take that shake a day. They're going to do it what's the word I'm looking for? Periodically, sporadically. Yeah, boom, bam. Sporadically. They're going to do it sporadically. They're not going to do it twice a day. So what's going to happen? They're going to tell somebody, yeah, I did Isagenix, and I didn't really feel it. It wasn't all that they said it was because it's a system. And at the minimum, you have to get somebody 2 shakes a day. So if twice is a huge thing, you got to get them 2 shakes a day. Go ahead, Judy.
Devil advocates here, or devil, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. We also talk about meeting people where they are, though. So I totally get that. And I rarely sign anyone up that's not going to start with a system. But there are those few people who they're not ready for whatever reason. So, I mean, what do you think with that? Because I have had a couple people who started with 1 shake a day. They actually did well, and they continue to use the product. So how do we find the balance with that?
Well, I mean, I think you made a good point. And of course, you want to get them on anything. So this is something that Ryan Engelbert and I talked about. One of my first conversations when I got into Isagenix was with Ryan Engelbert, because he was in our upline, and I said, what's this guy doing? And his philosophy was get somebody on something, but a qualifying pack, right? But get them on one that they can afford and that one that they're going to be able to sustain. Now, that's one theory. The fact of the matter is, think about this. How many people here do Isadelites? And how many people think Isadelites make a huge impact in their craving for sweets and just over in general? Okay, so Isadelites don't come in any of the getting started packs, but they come in a President's pack. There's something that I didn't discover until probably, I think, our second year, right? And then once I got them, and I think we won them or something, or we won or someone gave them to us, or we won them. So I didn't even buy them. Pardon me. But here's something that I've been taking that makes a huge difference, that if you don't get somebody on a President's pack at the beginning, they'll never know about. So think about this. If somebody's really Achilles heel in their diet, if their Achilles heel is sweets, and they've been on diets, and they do good when they wake up in the morning, and they do good all day, and they do good for lunch, they do good for dinner, but they always self-sabotage their diet at night by going to the refrigerator because they have that sweet tooth and getting a piece of cake or a donut or whatever, then Isadelites may be the one key missing ingredient, the cog in that wheel that they're not doing. So look, we're just discussing this. There is no perfect way. Of course, if somebody can't afford or can't see the value, let's say that. I don't want to say can't afford, right? Everything is how we word things, guys. So remember, we're using systems rather than products. So if we say somebody can't afford something, that's placing a connotation on it. If we say somebody can't see the value in it, then it's a little bit easier. So if somebody can't see the value in that, we certainly want to get them on something, anything. But I would say, like Judy said, if it's maybe just 1 shake a day, are there people that will feel that and it'll make a difference and at least they're getting something? Yes. We always have this phrase that 2 shakes a day is when the magic happens. But as Ryan is pointed out in our new videos, if you guys have gotten on the Zoom calls that we were doing last week to try and get people on this program, there's some $7 a day packs. We always talk about the 10 and the 20. but there's $7 a day packs. Pardon me. Getting over a cold. The $7 a day packs, the getting started packs, still not going to be enough for 2 shakes a day, but certainly we'll get some products in there, and $7 a day. So that's what I'd say would be a good answer. And yeah, get anything in their body, but let's try to get the minimum at 2 shakes. Jody, do you have a question?
No, I just had something happen last week, kind of along the same lines. One of my associates asked me if I had any samples of shakes that I could give to someone who was interested. And I told her, I said, we don't give out samples. I said, because you don't know how toxic they are. And I gave an example. I got a mixture of shakes when I started chocolate and vanilla, and I did not like chocolate at first. And I told her, I said, what if I'd have gotten a sample of the chocolate and not liked it and then never tried this? I said, where would I be now? I would have said, nope, I'm not going to try this system. And, you know, I'd still be sitting in my closet crying because I'd still be, you know, 60 pounds overweight.
Exactly. You know, it all comes part of you controlling the conversation, Jody. So you've been around this long enough and you're confident enough to really tell people, look, this is what it is. Let's talk to each other straight here. Let's not be scared of them. You know, I think what happens is sometimes we know a sign up is tough. We know if we get double PIBs in a week, that's a good week. To get 2 people in 1 week is tough. Let's not kid ourselves, right? So what happens is we get in these conversations and we want that person to join our team so bad. And we let them control the conversation. We let them dictate the pace. We let them kind of tell us what they want instead of us saying, look, we're sticking to our guns. Gus, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Gus? So last night on our call, I used an analogy. I said, Gus is a championship poker player, world championship, World Series of Poker. So sometimes you got to hold your cards tight and you got to have your poker face on, and you can't let the other person know what you're thinking or what you're doing because you're a professional. So Gus, if you could tell me, use that analogy. Can you talk now or are you walking?
Okay, I can talk to you.
So how would you say being a poker player and using your poker face makes a correlation to what times you have conversations with people about the products or holding your cards close to your vest and then letting them all go at the end?
Everything is timing. Because imagine like you're holding a pair of aces, which we all have with Isagenix, and you're sitting at a table with 10 people and you're having a conversation and you're turning your hands up, right? Well, everybody's going to fold because they know what you have. And to make that analogy with how you do it, it's like you make small bets, you kind of reel people in, and then you expose them at the end when you absolutely have to. That's the easiest way to give that analogy. Being a poker player has helped me read people. I think that's the biggest thing that I get away from being a poker player is being able to read people, seeing what they do, and then responding to what they do. And one analogy that I give people about poker in life is that an amateur poker player looks at his cards and just basically plays his cards the way he has them. Okay? And he just tells people what he has. An average poker player, his mindset is this: it's what do I have, but then what does he have? So not only are they playing based on their cards, but they're trying to get a read on what their opponent has, right? And then a professional poker player, his mindset goes another level, okay? One more level deep. It's what do I have? What does he have? What does he think I have? So now you're not just playing off of your own cards and what you think he has, you're playing off of what he thinks you have as well, okay? And that's the why. So that's where it really comes down to having to really getting to know somebody and getting really, really deep with somebody, okay? So you're not just playing off of what you got, you're playing off of what you think they got, but then what they think you got at the same time. So it's really, really deep. It's not very simple. When I tell people I would play poker, like, I really want to learn how to play poker. I'm like, it's not as simple as it looks. I was like, but I'd love to share more with you if you're open to hearing about it.
Let's go back to what you said. So I'm so glad you said it goes back to their why, because you're exactly right. So one of the reasons, and Gus and I didn't have this planned, obviously, I put him on the spot, but one of the reasons I thought it was so important, and I love to use analogies in teaching, is when you think about it. So when we talk about getting to their why, and we've done this exercises on this call before when we said, let's get deeper and deeper. A poker player will sit there, like Gus says, we have the aces. We're with Isagenix. We have aces. So when you're sitting there and you're talking to somebody and you know you have aces, what do we want to do? We want to go right off the bat, look, I got 2 aces, you lose, right? And that's what happens when you jump on them. But what Gus says is you got to find out their why. So you got to sit there with your poker face on, listening, asking more questions, asking more questions, asking more questions, getting deeper into their why. Because what happens at the end, just like a poker hand, they've exhausted everything they've done. They've said everything. They've spit up every excuse. They've told you every deep down secret about why they want to get healthy. They've said what hasn't worked for them in the past. They said what's holding them back. And then all of a sudden, after they've spoken everything and all the cards are on the table, you say, guess what? 2 aces. What you going to do now?
Yeah.
In other words, go ahead. Say it.
On that, exactly as you said. And sometimes how you just said, hey, look, I got 2 aces. When you get so deep enough into their wire, when you know what their hand is so much because you've gotten so much information from them, you can make that bet, and they're gonna fold. You don't even have to show them your aces. They're with you no matter what you have. You could have a 7 and a deuce in your hand, and they're with you because you've already, you already know what they have. So it's over in the end. Your cards are almost irrelevant once you have enough information from them. It's just a bonus that it happens to be a pair of aces. Oh, and by the way, we do all this with Isagenix. So it's cool. And thank you for bringing that up, David.
Yeah, because when we do it, let's go back to the systems, because remember, we're talking about systems, not products, and we started this off with that U2 analogy. So let's marry the U2 analogy and let's marry the gambling analogy together here. So how many of you guys, when you're talking to somebody and you haven't even gotten to their deep down in their why, you haven't gotten to what hasn't worked for them, you haven't really gotten to their budget, and you automatically start talking about the 30-day system because that's what you've done. And you haven't talked to them and said, how many of you guys don't know a system or don't know that this one comes with Isodelites, or this one comes with the vitamins, or ask them if they're already taking vitamins and how much they're paying for those vitamins. Think about that. When you're trying to sell a President's pack and you've already asked the person, because you're holding your ace there, and you say, you take vitamins now? And they say, yeah. Well, let's talk about how much you think you're paying for them and what exactly are you taking. Let's go to your vitamin cabinet. Let's do this. I'm on the phone with you. Go to your vitamin cabinet. Open it. What's in there? You have A, B, C, and D. You have fish oils. You're taking resveratrol. You're taking CoQ10. You're taking this. How much is that costing you? Let me ask you a question. What brand is it? Have you researched that brand? What quality is it? I'll tell you a great story. My mother was here, and I'm just trying to get my mother to take a multivitamin, Isagenix. And she said I already got one. This is my own mother. This was last year. She goes, I already got one. I take Sundown multivitamins. And I said, okay, Sundown. Let's look it up. And I found an independent study about Sundown, about all vitamins. They ranked them on a scale of 1 to 10. Sundown wasn't even a 1. It was like a 0.5. And it literally said in this study that it was a placebo, and it actually said it could have some side effects because of the fillers in it. So what happens is, if I got to that point, if I did my background, if I asked enough questions, and then I said, look, here's our vitamins, you're already paying for them. That's where the value comes in this pack. Okay? So if you're talking about a system and somebody says, well, they need this, and we say, what about a custom system? Angelique and I were talking to some young man the other day, and he has some very bad intestinal problems. And we're saying, well, you need bars and shakes, and maybe you need this, and we can do a custom system for you. And then you get a voucher. Don't forget about those new custom systems that come with vouchers, guys. So you can get them on some product. And how cool does it sound when you say, hey, look, here's a $50 or $75 voucher to pick something else out? That's pretty cool, too. I don't have that study. I can look it up, Susan, that vitamin study. I don't know where it is. I didn't save it. But I can certainly look it up.
It's just intriguing because I know Sundown was a big brand, big, at CVS, at Walgreens, at a lot of places.
Well, it's the same thing with protein. When you talk about, this is another thing, it all goes back to our language. When you talk about protein and you start saying, well, this is a protein shake, this and that, you got to start saying it's a meal replacement shake. Because if you tell me it's a protein shake and I get my protein at Walmart, and most people do, right? There's a tub of protein at Walmart. It's like the size of my head or double the size of my head. And it's probably like $15. So if someone's just looking for not looking for value and they're just looking at price, that's what they're going to jump to. And they're going to paint you in a corner. How many of you guys have been on a call when somebody says, I take protein, it costs $20 and I get a tub this big. And then you're like, well, that's why you got to say, this is a meal replacement shake. How many of you guys know how to describe it? Well, we know it's whey protein, undenatured whey. Most of us know that. Do we know that probiotics are in it? That's huge. What do probiotics do? Your gut health. Why is gut health important? Because how many of us have caught a cold this season? How many people know people that catch colds more than once a season or really bad colds? With Isagenix, we usually catch it and kick it quicker. I'm not saying it puts a shield around us where we're impervious to sickness, but I know that if my neighbor has a cold and she's got it for 2 weeks, I'll probably get it for 3 days. Go ahead, Judy.
I have something to add when it comes to digestive health. I know better than anybody how when your digestive system isn't right, the rest of you isn't. I seriously would rather break my leg than to have digestive issues. So a lot of people will say, well, I know it's TMI, but I either have issues going or whatever. Like a lot of women, they have issues with bowel movements. So I have a girl that she's a little over a month in and she's now like back to being regular. She's like, my skin even looks better. And I didn't even think about it till she brought it up, but she was like, well, it makes sense if my bowels are working like they should, that my skin is going to look better. So anytime, like, to me, that's a question worth asking is, depending on your relationship with a person is, how often do you poop or whatever, because that is so vital to our overall health. Like people just don't understand how important it is.
Yeah, look, I got comfortable with the poop conversation a long time ago. And if you guys are uncomfortable with it, you better get comfortable with it because, look, it's something we all do every day. And it's something that's huge in terms of your health. I remember once I was in a class when I was a personal trainer and this girl hadn't gone to the bathroom in 20 days. And we're like, you better get to a hospital. You're toxic. That's terrible. And there's some people that go once a week and they don't want to talk about it because, oh my gosh, it's poop. And we get conversations all the time where in our private thread or in Isolation, and people say, well, someone's got the runs or someone's constipated. Look, if you're not regular in your bowel movements and you're not regular and you're not comfortable talking about it, what happens is you're going to take Isagenix and sometimes it backs you up if you're not regular and sometimes it'll make you go. But what you'll do is tell that person, first of all, make sure you're doing it for at least a week so we can see if this is just your body adjusting. And then we have options there, whether it's sometimes people are whey sensitive or milk allergies, and then they have to go to the vegan shake or whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's important because it all goes back to your metabolism. If you're not moving things at a regular basis and you're not moving in that way, then that means your metabolism is messed up. More importantly, it means you're toxic.
What I always try to do.
Add something to that.
You guys there?
No, go ahead. Let's go with Christine and then we'll go Michelle.
I always like to, when we first start the connecting conversation, I jump right into that because you can hear they're kind of holding back. Well, I'm like, hey, this is just a private conversation between me and you. I said, I'm like your lawyer or your doctor. Whatever you tell me is just between us. So we do get it right down and dirty, literally, right? And it comes up easy after I talk about detoxing and cleansing. I'm like, and this is not going to attach you to the can for 3 days, I said, And so I find that
let's take the sting out of the conversation right away, right?
But yeah, they just have to understand if they went to their doctor, they would tell their doctor point blank what was going on. So it's not like I'm about to post that I have a new client who is never able to use the bathroom, right. It's a private health issue that I want to help them feel better about. So that tends to make them feel comfortable, I think, that way.
Great point.
I have another story to share.
Let's go to Michelle real quick, Judy. Hold on. We'll come back to you. Go, Michelle.
Yeah, it just piggybacks on Christine's comment about what I do at the beginning when I connect with people and they're actually willing to get on a phone call with me and they sign up. I always let them know, hey, this is going to be, a journey. And I'm going to have to know and communicate with you, and know what's going on, and I try to make them feel comfortable to open up to me, and let them know, hey, you're going to have to share certain things with me, while you're going through this process, so that we can tweak whatever we need to, and, you can make the best out of the system. So I kind of set it up that way, so that way they know that they have to open up that line of communication with me,
I love it. Yeah. And then, so you're opening up the lines of communication, and then we're being firm enough and smart enough and confident enough in our ability to continue to tell them what is right and what is wrong instead of what they want to hear. That's the important part, guys. So many of you guys will tell people what they want to hear instead of telling them what they need to hear. Okay? Want to hear versus what they need to hear. Go ahead, Judy.
I've got an associate who's working with a friend / prospect who her 2-year-old daughter was constipated so bad, but the doctor, I guess they had tried everything, but the doctor said that brain development was more important than being constipated. So the doctor told her to just make her child drink whole milk and just deal with the constipation. And I'm like, as a mother, I could not imagine watching my child scream and cry because they could not use the bathroom.
Yeah.
So she did. She sold her some shakes, and she, at that point, 4 days out of 4 days, that child was using the bathroom like a normal person, not in pain. So, I'm like, that's powerful, and that's a reason why we do what we do, because I couldn't imagine watching a 2-year-old in pain and the doctor basically saying, well, sorry.
Well, when we talk, now that we're on this gut conversation, remember that most of your immune system lies in your gut. There's an article that I think I posted in the files section, and it's called The Brain-Gut Connection. And if you talk about the brain-gut connection and you read that article, it's very short, guys. I think everybody on here should find it today, and maybe I'll look for it in the feed and bring it back up. But the brain-gut connection is something that's huge, and it's much more than just your immune system. When you read that, you're going to see how important it is to have a healthy intestinal tract and all the things. So as we review today, we talked about really finding the value in systems and really leading people to the conversation where, look, you wouldn't just want to go hear The Edge or you wouldn't want to hear your neighbor or something cheaper. You really need to hear Bono and the whole band. And then we talked about Gus and his poker face and how you have to get everybody's why out in front of you, and you have to let them talk and talk and talk. Because what happens if you talk too much at the beginning, then they have the upper hand. If it's back and forth, that's okay. But what you really want is to be a listener first. Get all the information you can. Let them say everything, every excuse, every reason, every intention, and just be done so they don't want to talk anymore. Because then what happens is, then the stage is yours, and you get to go last, and you have the aces. And then we talked about this great conversation about getting poop out of the way. And let's all talk about it like it's not a big deal, like it's not something that we don't all do, and the importance of having a healthy intestinal tract, the importance of making sure you're going to the bathroom on a regular basis, and how Isagenix can help you because there's digestive enzymes. That's the thing we didn't really specify. 8 patented digestive enzymes. So that's why, remember, if you're having digestive enzymes in your shake, guess what? Those digestive enzymes are going to work on the rest of your food as well. It's not just your shake that they help pass through the system, but they're going to be in there to help you digest the rest of your food. So digestion is so important to being healthy. The one last thing I'll tell you, my personal trainer, and this is my big problem, my personal trainer told me to start making sure that I chew my food better. So I remember being a little kid at my grandma and grandpa's house, my grandpa yelling at me because I ate too fast, and he made me slow down. Chew your food, David. And what happens is that's the first part of digestion, especially if you're eating red meats or you're eating chicken or something that's a little bit more. If you're not breaking that down in your mouth with digestive enzymes that already exist in your saliva, and you're not breaking that down, then your stomach's going to have a harder time breaking it down in the future. So yeah, you got to tell our kids to slow down, and we got to make sure that we all put these things together. That's why these meetings are so important. Because if we put these things together, all of a sudden we become a much better consultant. We become a much better person. And if there's anything else, we can add a couple more things. But anybody else have anything to add to that conversation, or anything
Well, just that part about the when you were talking about the protein, where people said they can get a big, huge thing at Walmart for $15.
Yeah.
Whenever that comes up, I always think, well, what's the protein source? And I was so shocked to learn from John and Del Rey that when they were formulating their own products, they found in the United States, they can say it's 100% whey protein, and it may only have 10% whey protein, but they can do that legally. So then the rest of it is soy, and it's because of the price point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And personally, you know, I go back to, you know, when Angelique first got me on this product, she begged me to take the shakes. And I had been working out since I was 15. I took every kind of protein shake on the market. And I said, look, babe, I've taken it all. I was the typical client. I said, I'm not taking this. I've done it. And she said, get in your body. So I did. And it was the first time I told her that a protein shake made me feel different. So if someone's saying they're taking a tub of protein from Walmart and that's their thing, maybe your next question is, does it make you feel different? Can you feel the difference when you take it? And chances are they're going to say no. So you're just assuming that it works. You're just assuming that what you're getting is it tested and purified to make sure that it's at least 85% bioavailable. You know, because you can say most protein shakes are 30% bioavailable, if that. So that means if it says there's 30 grams on your protein shake, right? You're getting less than half of that. So you just said, hey, I had a great workout. I just got 30 grams of protein. No, you didn't. You probably got about 10 because your body's only assimilating that much out of that cheap protein. You get what you pay for. So, and then leave it with that. If that's what their stance is, and their stance is going to be money, very kindly and politely go, okay, well, you get what you pay for. When you're ready to get something that makes you feel different and actually changes the look of your body, changes the style of your workouts, I'll be here. You know, you just got to be confident and stand tall and tell people this is what you have to offer. And when you're ready for a change, when you're ready to see difference in your body and stop looking for things, that's what I'm doing. You get what you pay for. It goes back to last week when I was looking at coffee in the grocery store, and there's all these coffees, and I'm judging it by where it's from, or I'm judging it by the packaging. We always judge things by the packaging. And I see this one, I'm like, that looks good, and I pick it up, and every other coffee there was $7.99. And this particular coffee was $3. And I said to myself, this must be a bad coffee. It's only $3. It's probably cheap. So we associate cost with value. So that should only go into what we're doing now. Now, don't get me wrong. I only did that because our Isogenics coffee on auto ship wasn't here, and I was desperate. Thank God we just got our Isogenics coffee yesterday because I'm hooked on that. Every other coffee now tastes so bitter to me. I went back to the Starbucks brand when I got that day at the grocery store, and I made the coffee next morning, and Angelique and I looked at each other and go, this tastes terrible. It's so bitter. It tastes like tar. But yeah, value. So I'm glad we had this conversation. I recorded this. I will post it again. If there's any of your friends that you think would get some benefit from this, please let them know, and I'll have it up in a little bit. And I'll also have some of those things up talking about the packs, and the other thing I was going to post, the brain-gut connection. So look for that, okay? Have a great day.
Perfect.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.